going to talk about Finn MacCool, and as you know, he's a legendary poet and hero of Irish lore. As a boy, fate would allow him to gain wisdom from the salmon of knowledge, but that's a story for another time. Today, I want to tell you how that little boy grew up and he fell in love. With his wealth of knowledge, Finn MacCool was able to slay an evil wizard. For this feat, the High King of Ireland appointed Finn the head of the Fianna. This was a roving band of the country's greatest warriors and heroes. Well, one day, while the group was hunting, they came across a lovely doe in a meadow. They chased her until everyone lost track of her, except for Finn. He followed his hounds as they ran up ahead, and he came upon an opening in the glen. He saw a surprising sight. His hounds were there, licking the doe's face and playing with her. The doe followed Finn and his dogs home, and then she disappeared. Well, later that night, a beautiful woman arrived at his home. She said, "My name is Saba. I was the deer who followed you here. I spurned the love of a druid, and he punished me for forcing me to live as a deer." Well, Finn asked her, "Well, then how is it that you stand before me as a woman?" "A good druid took pity on me and promised to release me from the spell once I arrived to the realm of the Fianna warriors. Your hound sensed my true nature and invited me back with you." So great was Finn's admiration of Saba. He soon fell in love with her, and eventually they married, and Finn gave up his wandering days to be with her. Well, after a few years of wedded bliss, news came that invaders had come and attacked the shores of Ireland. With a heavy heart, Finn left his beloved to go protect the country. Well, after a short time at war, he became restless and had a strong desire to go home. So when he arrived home, he arrived that his wife was missing. He searched everywhere, calling her name. He pleaded with his neighbors for information. And an elderly woman stepped forward saying, "Do you not know? 7 days ago, your wife ran out to the field to meet you." "What do you mean? I only just arrived," he said. "Yes, I'm sure of it. She ran to meet you, and after touching you, she cried. And where she was a beautiful doe." Please, he begged, "tell me where I can find this doe. I must see her." Well, Finn cried, and his neighbors stood in bewilderment, stating that the doe attempted to come back, but was unable to, and eventually the dog chased her away, and she hadn't been seen since. Finn knew that the dark druid had arrived, and he had found his beloved Saba, and that she was gone forever. For the next 7 years, Finn searched the land without success, and until one day, he was out hunting with his comrades. He heard a commotion in the distance. Drawing closer, he soon discovered the dogs protecting a small figure from the other hounds. Finn drew close and realized it was a little boy, and he had matted hair, and he was covered in dirt. Finn's hounds licked the face. He licked the boy in the eerily similar fashion that reminded him of his doe. Well, Finn brought the boy home, offered him food and clothing, and as the child slept, he noticed a strong resemblance to Saba. He immediately woke the boy, asking where he had come from, and the boy told Finn that he roamed the countryside with a lovely deer, and together they lived in the hills in the valley, eating off the land, until one day she had led him to a glen where the men hunted. She nuzzled him as if to say goodbye, and then she left him. Finn cried in relief as he realized the young boy was his son. He named him Oisin, which means fawn. Oisin grew up and he continued his father's legacy as one of Ireland's greatest heroes.